Hello, Jonathan. Welcome to the Cat Chat podcast. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me here. For the first podcast, maybe? If so, yes, that's awesome. Happy to be the first. I've been looking forward to our discussion, and I'm open to whatever you want to talk about.
This is the first podcast series of my project related with deaf culture, deaf people, business, school, career, many things. You're the first of many here. So thank you for your time and thanks for coming here
Absolutely.
tonight.
Absolutely. Anytime for you and for the community.
Okay, tell me about your background, your growing up with your family. I believe that you two are deaf, but
Yes.
Huey family.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your family, how they supported you through your deafness, you name it.
Sure. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Jonathan Ferreira, and this is my sign name. I am from Miami, Florida. I am deaf, and I was born hearing. And as I grew up, I got an illness. We're not incredibly sure what happened, but I became deaf. Um, they think that maybe it was a fever, possibly, but it doesn't matter. I'm proud and I'm happy to be deaf. I don't have a specific way I have to communicate, like I have to voice all the time or whatever. I can talk. Yes, I have some hearing ability. I can use the phone. I'm more comfortable around people that I know that I can voice with. For work, I typically use an interpreter. Anyways, so yes, my sister is also deaf and she was also born hearing. Same thing. She became
Interesting.
deaf later. We're not sure why, but we always use verbal and sign communication. My parents are awesome. They are not fluent in sign language, but they do so good at understanding us. They're Spanish from Argentina. They're able to talk and gesture, and it's not always 100% accurate, but we're human and we're so clear together, and that's the same for me and my sister. I'm blessed with my parents that they pushed me to look for all ways of communication, providing interpreters, being transparent about things. It was so great, especially with the deaf community and the interpreting community supporting us. And that's one part of my life growing up. Do you want me to keep
Education,
going
how to
or?
do overcome your education, deaf school, public school, accommodation, NEP, interpreter, note taker,
Yes.
frustration, challenges, struggles, whatever. Tell me.
Yes. So I am very, very lucky that I had my parents that were incredibly open minded. And sometimes you have parents who feel a little bit awkward. They're like, is this normal to have a deaf child? And my parents viewed us as very normal. We went to a very good school. We went to the deaf school. I think it was kindergarten, but the school provided hearing aids for us. There was sign language, there was communication, there was transparency about everything. I remember clearly I was there for the oral program, for like, using your voice and using your hearing ability, but they also had sign language and it was
Mhm.
beautiful. I wasn't very confused or anything at the time. I was very aware that they were trying to provide information in sign language as well too. So again, I was very lucky to have my parents there to provide those awesome tools for us, really. Now, I remember going into elementary school, we had a group of deaf students that were surrounded by a larger group of hearing students. I think there was 30 of us deaf students. I was with them for 4 years, and then we went to middle school, and that first year of middle school was the same thing. We had that small cohort of deaf students and then surrounded by a lot more hearing students with an interpreter. I didn't feel like there were any barriers. I was in the room with the other hearing students. I was getting the same education. I didn't feel
Good. That's
different or
important. That's
feel like there
important.
was
Good.
anything in my way. Yes. Yes, I got the same information as all the other students. And then we found out that my parents had bought a different house and they actually moved further away from the deaf school, that deaf group. And I thought that was just normal, just going into a mainstream environment every day for school. Um, I did feel a little left out because I didn't really like have a partner that I could directly communicate with in my classes. I had the interpreter there and they became my friend, and of course we had boundaries and everything, but it was still good to be able to have that person that I could chat with. There were some drawbacks, I think. I didn't feel like I could participate as much in clubs and everything because if there wasn't an interpreter, I struggled a little. But the other students were really nice to work with me. Fortunately, when I got into high school, my sister was already there. She was a senior. I was a sophomore. And we had our different,
So
we were in
one
different grade
day
levels
together
and there
to
was different
put
socialization. Yes, yes, exactly. So we had that kind of love hate relationship like, okay, yes, we're good together. Okay, now go away. So again, I had friends in the interpreting staff and I was there at school. And remember, at this time, there was no video phone or texting or anything like that. So if you wanted to hang out, we
TTY.
got to go on field trips. Well, yes, yes, we did. We had the TTY
Play
that
the
would spit out,
competition.
yes, the
Remember
receipt.
that?
Yes, you remember? You would like bring it out and be like, see, remember this? This is what you said. Remember specifically what you said. It really motivated us to really meet up in real life. Like, I'll see you later in a couple of weeks. It was like, no, come on, let's get together this weekend. So it was hard for us because, again, my parents moved and we lived so far away from the school. But my favorite part about school was the field trips because every time there was a field trip, it was all the deaf kids together. It didn't matter if it was for a basketball game or track or an educational field trip or going to university. I was so lucky to have the interpreters there fighting for us and our parents making sure that we had full access. But again, at this time, there was no texting, communication was different. So it was great when you were able to hang out with all your deaf friends. And it was great to be able to participate in the school as well. And then when I was getting ready to go to college, my sister had already went to Gallaudet, and I remember going for a visitation to Gallaudet, and I was blown away because everybody there was signing. It was so cool. It was so cool. I didn't feel like I had to go there. Um, I was used to going to
Yeah,
uh,
that
a
made me
more
very
hearing environment with some
there.
deaf people there, so that's why I ended up at RIT NTID. So I think my decision was wonderful. It was great. There was a great group. There was a lot of balance as well. My experience at RIT was very interesting. Everyone was very
Mm-hmm.
diverse, and you never kind of knew who that person was. People had lots of different language styles,
Mm-hmm.
like SEE or ASL. There was the big D deaf crowd, and a lot of people had found their identities. And for me, I thought I was missing so much because I knew that I was deaf, but I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't have a full understanding of what that meant. RIT gave us so much. They really did. RIT, NTID, and Gallaudet. I got a lot from both of them. And luckily, after my 2 years at RIT, I was able to um, have that awesome time. But I had those moments when I hated it. I had those moments when I loved it. And then after that, I was able to go to Gallaudet afterwards. I ended up with a full ride scholarship. And that is when I fell in love even more. That's where I learned so much more about culture. I understood more. My surroundings there was no hearing people, right? Unless you went like off campus. So it was interesting to experience both sides of that. So I was involved with like volunteering more, and I had a job. There was deaf companies there and deaf business
All
owners,
about
and you were able to
community
learn
network
so much more. I
for
was so blessed
helping
in my journey.
after college, master's program, internship, you name it.
hmm Well, I was so used to having the interpreter get me the information from their perspective. And once I got into the deaf community, it was great to see everybody else's perspective because college had millions of everyday perspectives. And at the same time, I just was immersing myself and I wanted to know more. And then you had the experience with the international students as well too. Do you remember that, hanging out with the international students, trying to figure out where like our culture and their culture like would meet? It was a really rich and rare experience. I was so blessed to have the opportunity to go to both
Mine was a little
RIT
bit
and Gallaudet.
different.
So I'm very proud.
Short-lived, different, not so good experience, but I learned. But
No, I get
could
it.
that.
One thing that I have to emphasize is my relationship with my friends and like my romantic relationships that had two sides. I had great friends that were hearing. I had a hearing girlfriend. And then when I moved into that deaf world at Gallaudet University, it was just so much more of what I learned. And nothing was bad. Neither situation was bad. Everything was very transparent. Gallaudet was very visual. I understood more there every day. You had the
You
community there
have
that
a
was together. I mean, I
communication
was
or
signing so much
culture
more.
barrier between hearing that now
Yes.
2019 hearing that relationship
Yes.
on deaf to deaf or hearing to hearing or hearing to hard of
That.
hearing, whatever you call it. Now negative or relationship work out for the best for who that individual is. Hard of hearing,
Yes.
deaf or hearing.
Yes. Exactly that. You said it all perfectly.
Great, thank you for sharing your experience. I'm in the same boat as you. I went to RIT. I lost in 1 quarter.
What? 1 quarter? No.
No,
It
one
was
quarter.
more than one
I
quarter.
remember it was 10 weeks. I felt was the bit there. It wasn't for me. I was still trying to figure out, okay, I'm that. But the more or the more had interpreted some classes I was able to with the teacher, passing all classes. My country was I was all day class afternoon work I could see Watson work.
My
Then 3 hours
goodness.
of homework at night. Then the rest of the night I would go find a party, do something. Duh.
That's good. It was a great place to
Nine
go.
weeks I found and the house that I was staying moved. So that was one of the reasons why I'm like, no, not for me. I'm gonna move home. So I follow, moved, lived with the Virginia for a while. Parents found out, yelled at me, moved home, found out about Gallaudet. Parents eat again. The DPR paid everything. I don't pay nothing. Scholarship, DPR,
Very blessed.
everything. Okay, so I applied. I got them going. I arrived there. They charged me only standing.
Yeah.
I'm very English. Okay.
You had hearing
Took
aids,
out my hearing
right?
aid.
Yup.
Took out my hearing aid.
It's a big difference.
Turned up my voice. Picked up English the more. It does. All the way. Arrived home for Thanksgiving break. Thought my favorite. Talking about second mom. Started dying. She was like, what? She goes, what's happening? It does. I'm like,
But you were
want me to go
simcomming
back? No, no,
before.
no, 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 no. Beautiful. God, that is perfect for you. I'm like, thanks. I really like it. I started to identify myself. That
But before
talk.
you simcommed,
I never wore my hearing.
right? You simcommed before previously?
A little bit, yeah. And then I started picking up Danny and start talking because when I tried to go back, sometimes my talking, Danny don't match. That was a forget
I
it.
know that feeling.
An interpreter or I just speak. Sorry, I have an interpreter. You interpreter, Danny for me doing most of my
Yes.
podcast. And so I try my best. But all of my podcast is full of accessibility. YouTube has
Good.
caption. Do not
Good.
have caption. I use the interpreter necessary. If not necessary, use voice over for this. Many ways, but got that from the back. Authority
And
of the
they
back.
taught you so
I
much. They provided you
realize,
access to make
wow.
sure
Yep.
they had to make sure that you were happy with them. They gave you access, and that way you were able to learn and appreciate that
Yeah,
again and
and
again. That's what
both
I learned
colleges,
there too.
RIT, NTID, and Galan, both have diversity, have everything diversity, just a little bit different more. I want to name them all, but they have everything. Them kind, English, FE, interpreter, no interpreter, Dan, speak, name it. Galan more depth culture, more into that. But also have hearing people like that
Oh,
too.
that's true.
The company
Yeah.
training program that would open, but that my perspective of both happened.
So one thing I'll add about Gallaudet is my phone going off. Let's move it over there. One thing that I learned about Gallaudet is that if you had somebody new you were talking with, you didn't know if they were hearing or if they were deaf. And that's one of the reasons I really loved Gallaudet was you could be you.
And people
You
don't
didn't
feel
need to have
abandoned
a
if
name
they
tag.
really how do people
Exactly.
oh,
Right. You were
I'm
just carrying on with everybody.
big while or whatever because some people wait all long time later. Me, I would wait all a long time later.
Yes. I think one of my favorite things about RIT and the NTID is that the first person I ever met there was Jamie. And the two of us kind of had the same experience when we got there with the environment. We both still had hearing ability, we could talk, we could sign, we felt safe. But if Jamie was not there, I felt a little off, right? So it was nice to have that person there with you to feel relaxed. And Gallaudet was the same way. When I got to Gallaudet, though, I felt a little shameful, though, because I wasn't signing enough. And it wasn't until I got out
Yeah,
there every
same.
day and started socializing that changed. And I was, again, so blessed to have that experience at both universities. And I couldn't
Well,
say
when it
one was
comes to
better than the
wax,
other.
that with that you have to choose.
Yeah,
Brilliant, got it then.
that's true. Yes.
So for the time looking back, 20 years.
Holy cow. It does not feel like that. But yeah, it was definitely 20
I'm
years
trying to remember
ago.
when did I
Because
graduate
when
high
did I
school?
graduate?
Got it then.
NTID. Let's see, I got
Oh,
into
whatever.
RIT
20
at
something years ago.
2002.
That my answer.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. How did you get your idea to teacher business?
Wow. All right, well, let's go back to the very, very beginning. I remember I was always struggling to order shirts for like sports teams that I was on. I would have the design, and then the company would tell me what I could and could not do. And then when I got the product back, I would think, this is not what I wanted. And it was always expensive. You always had to have a minimum of 12 shirts. So I thought, okay, why don't I use YouTube and I can try it myself and see if I can. So I started making shirts. I made one bicycle shirt for myself and it said deaf on the back. Someone saw that shirt and said they wanted one. So I made one for them. I gave it to them for free. And then I did it again and again and again. And they were very, very simple. I just did this to know that I could do it. So I was looking for a job, and my wife ended up becoming pregnant. And I think it was about 9 months into the pregnancy. I think she was ready to pop any moment. So I was working at my job, and unfortunately, at that time, I was laid off. I was heartbroken. And I thought, you know what, I have a new family. What am I going to do? I wasn't going to move to another place for a job. I wanted to stay in Miami. I loved it here. I had my family and my support, and it was not easy to find a job
I'm
at all.
sure.
It was a challenge.
I'm
And that
sure.
was, I'm sure, the same everywhere. So I didn't know what to do. I sent out my applications. It had been a couple of weeks, and my wife had told me not to settle for any job. She told me I could start my business in the meantime, and I didn't know what she was talking about. Then she said, the t shirts, remember? And I said, oh, duh, yeah. So I started with that. So I bought some equipment for, it was under $100, I think. And I started making shirts. And then I realized that was motivation for me to grow, not just money wise, but like the experience and pleasing the customers. And by the time my wife was ready to give birth, I was stressed about money, and that was helping me to motivate me more to sell more shirts and get more customers and grow a little faster, maybe. And I wanted to make sure that I was in the right place when my daughter was born. And I mean, money wasn't great. Um, I think it was about a year or so later that, well, business has its ups and downs, as you know. I never realized how hard it was going to be to actually run a business. I thought that I was just going to be making shirts, but I was one person. I was one person making shirts, one person talking with consumers, one person doing social media, one person making a website. It was very clear that I needed a team. So I ended up getting a really good job offer, and I could not say no because I had to provide for my family. So I thought, you know what, I can always keep doing
Yeah.
t-shirts on the side because I never know where life is going to take me. So I have to be able to focus on two things now. And I
Yeah,
started
it
working with
just
Jeep, and
used
that
to
was
be
great.
Green Bay, not Miami. What up, New Kyle? You're the person in Miami. What about Green Bay? Hello?
Yes. Well, the reason that I kept working with Jeep is because it grew my experience and it supported my family and I knew my consumers. So I kept selling at different events. And at one point, I thought, you know, I do have a full time job that is stable. Do I still need this? But it really did help me a lot. It gave me the blessings to be able to like travel. Um, I kept growing and doing Jeep events, and those events kept going on. I was doing very well, and I had a lot of people contacting me, pulling me in different directions. But I thought, you know, I can do this. But I had to realize I'm only one person, so I needed to start pulling in support. And I believe that I have to
Yeah,
give it to my family first.
definitely.
They need my love, they need my support and my attention. As you know, babies grow so fast, kids grow up so fast. So I could still work full time and I could still work part time doing t shirts for Jeep events. But I wasn't going to be able to do it without a good team behind my back. So I was very blessed that everybody kept supporting me and the business. The
Oh,
business
yeah.
wasn't huge, but my
For
heart felt
sure. I
really
mean, you
big.
had your sister have that Emmett, right? Emmett.
Yes, I had. They were
Emmett,
helping us
okay.
as well.
Help. Some other fun. Help. So really
Hmm.
nice. And yeah, I agree. Family first. Really proud of really how you started. Simple and sweet. And I later realized, I don't like that. I want to try a different way to get perfect. That I know much no errors. So that's really important. I'm sure the customers all over it. But the sheep event, the Miami event, are really grateful for that. Me too. Thank you for making all of the shirts at or the Justin or whatever because they're really great. You started off with simple, basic screen practice
Yes.
before shifting equipment to make it more. smooth, lighter, or expand?
Yes. So it's funny that I learned so much through the community of t-shirt makers. I learned a lot of information, and really anyone can
Alright,
do
I
this.
going for the
Anyone
teacher in high
from
school, so I know
children
how
and
to.
up. Yes, definitely. And you don't need the $5,000 machine. You could start with $50 worth of equipment. And I remember I started with just ink and stencils, cutting them out, putting them on shirts, ironing them on, and selling them. It was a lot of work, but it was one way to do it. And then as I grew, I invested more into my equipment. I got the stick off vinyl with the heat press. I had so many different compliments with my work. And I had a lot of upset consumers as well, because after you wash the vinyl shirts, for example, those kind of peeled off. They will eventually peel off. And it was my job to make sure the customers weren't upset anymore. So then I got ink screen printing. And that's something I learned from my first experience is that when I was ordering shirts and you had to have a minimum of 12.
Hmm.
So that was the process that I was using. And that was so time consuming to make the frame and get the screening done. So then I bought other equipment. Again, it wasn't $5,000 equipment. I was looking for something used that I could
Hmm.
use myself. I think maybe I got it for under $200 or $300, and I kept getting better. And there's so many different ways that you could screen print things. There's a TDF machine, and there's other things where it was small profit for a lot of time, and vinyl was great because it eventually would peel off though. And then there was the sublimation style machines, but you could only do it on white. I don't know if you remember the sunflower
With my
shirt that I made
cane,
you.
with my cane that
Yes,
I did
the
from
really big
Jason,
one.
yeah, at the
Yes.
half there.
So I gave
Yeah.
you that as a surprise, and that was so beautiful. But the problem is you can only print that on white fabric. So I had to keep moving back and forth between different styles depending on what my customer's request was. And it was important for me to figure out what the customer wanted. And I know a lot of other companies were just trying to get people in and out the door for money. I was more concerned with quality, getting what you wanted, and then hopefully having you come back again for repeat business. And it wasn't always simple. There was a lot in the process, but there was also a lot of failure. I mean, a lot of failure, and it made you angry. But you had to know it was just temporary for you to keep going. I'm trying to think. I think I
Think
was doing
like
it for 4 or 5 years,
a
probably.
first
Oh,
shirt
well, yeah,
or
because my
whatever
daughter
I
was born,
asked
so
you
five
to
years.
make one the Disney shirt. That would do. Titan. The Hato shirt. The habit.
Wow, that's so cool.
But of course, my kids
But
are equal, but I could fit in mind, but I don't know about Jason. But yeah,
you know what's funny? In the past, I would design whatever the customer wanted, right? And as my business grew, and again, it didn't happen fast, there was some larger businesses that would
like
contact me
copyright.
and say, "Do not do that
Yeah,
again." And that was exactly it. Disney World. If I would have went back, I would say, um, I would look at my orders that were it was just a few shirts. I wouldn't do that again. So whatever the trademark is or the copyright design or anything like that, I would never want to touch any of that ever again. And for anybody who's setting up a business, please take my advice on that.
definitely. Yeah. Any pros to cons? Well, I'm sure you said it already, but any pros to cons about running a business alone? Not always have a team.
The biggest con is that it is very time consuming. You have to give a lot of energy to maintain it before my business, I was being pulled in a lot of directions. And I had to think, do I have people behind my back? Am I going to have enough time for my kids if I go in this new direction? Probably yes, but more than likely no. There's a lot to understand. You have to figure out how to make your own decisions. If you have a full time job, what does your energy look like
Ah,
after work? Can you keep doing this? Let's say you only want to do it on the weekends, you want to have fun, but you have to focus on your side business. So there's a lot of things you have to weigh in and you have to trust your decision making process. You have to decide how much money you're willing to put into it. If you are not putting in the money, you're not going to get out great quality. You really have to listen to your customers and provide quick answers. And sometimes I wasn't able to
yeah,
provide
I'm
quick
just
answers to
kidding.
people.
I thought, yeah, I'm just kidding.
Well,
No.
I know, and I'm not trying to hide. I'm human. And again, you're leaving people waiting. And a lot of times the world is asking you a lot, and you have to be able to say yes or no. And there's a lot of people to answer to. That's why I absolutely love doing the Jeep events. And people want my time and my skills, and there's always probably more positives than negatives, but you have to weigh them out yourself.
I don't, well, I know that sheep, but how did you get into their world with your business, like bandit, event? Like, how did he do that? I mean, to send them a free t-shirt. Hey, head up, here's my business. Let me know if you like that. Or how to do sheep event world.
That's a great question. So, when I got involved with Jeep, I ended up at a community event and I saw the different merchandise and I thought everything was kind of the same. It was things that you would see at Walmart or Amazon or for wherever. It wasn't anything special. And I thought, well, if I set something up, would that make a difference? And I thought, yes. So when I first started, it was at Jeep Beach. And that was a wonderful start. I set up and I was flooded with customers, with buyers. I was getting cards, I was getting orders, and getting invited to do all these different events. And I thought, this is a perfect start. It wasn't these small events, some of these were really big too. And I got a lot of different offers to be a vendor at different places during those other shows as well. So I was able to kind of stay connected. And I guess I didn't realize how much time I was going to have to give up to making shirts, packing up, getting to the event, setting everything up, selling, taking down, going home. But it
Yeah,
was fun.
good.
It was really fun. Most of the time, you're thinking, okay, this is going to be beautiful and it's outdoors and the
And
weather's going to be
sunscreen and
great.
the hat, Jonathan.
Yes, but sunburn, oh my gosh. And there was thunderstorms and wind and it was beautiful, but I remember the weather hit my tent one time and I lost a tent. Um yeah, it was an interesting journey. There was positives and negatives, but it was absolutely worth it in the end. The networking that happened and the posting on social media, and I got so much attention and it was great. And I was able to do a lot more with the connections. I think last year I had 15 different events
Wow.
that I went to, but now this year I've only done 3 because every other event has conflicted with things that I have going on, whether it's a graduation or a birthday party for one of my kids. So I figured next year what I'm going to do is when it's my son's birthday, great, we're going to go here to this
Nice.
event and I'll be able to do more
But
next
it's
year.
nice to learn your balance and your priority. So now that
Yes.
I'm gonna be here for my kids, my family first. Not sure maybe we'll find a vacation or a weekend there, celebrate there while I'm working there. That was nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to add, something that woke me up was my daughter came to me at an event and said, Dad, I miss you. And I said, well, I love you. I miss you. What's going on? And she said, you're always working. And I thought, oop, time out. And that's when I started to get the team together and realized that my kids needed my attention too. And it's great because I had to keep an open mind about things. My daughter absolutely loves being in the process with me. I'm sure you've seen some of the things on Instagram with the screen printing or the heat pressing. Yes, or the modeling. My daughter loves to be involved. So I have to remember that she's a kid. She needs my attention too.
Sure. Again, next question. Balance, time, work, family, self-care. When did you realize you are not overwhelmed, but overstimulated with that work, or too much with family, or family, work, me? What do you want to do? So how did you figure out, or how did you realize when you have to set up boundaries with, well, number boundaries with family, but family, time for work, running a business, and yourself as the person?
So I learned the hard way either 2 years or last year when I had my neck injury. This neck injury is from stress, and I never understood what stress could do. I would try and relax, I would try and exercise and just have fun and let it go, but I never understood how bad stress could interrupt your health. So think about it. If you're in a stressful situation at work, you have a lot of responsibility. After work, you're able to kind of relax and take time off. But as a small business owner, you have to focus on that, but you also have to try and relax. And I was holding in so much of my stress, and I wasn't able to have time off from stress, and that messes with your body. So I ended up having some nerve pain in my neck, and I was in bad shape. And business and work were all influencing this. So really, it didn't matter what was going on. I had to continue to breathe. I had to find time. I had to create balance. Again, remember, you're human. You have to stop and let things go. And you need to recognize that. It took a long time for me to recognize what was causing all this stress to me. And it didn't matter how much work needed me, I needed to be able to give the appropriate amount of time to all of my projects and endeavors. And I had to give more time to myself. I don't know if you noticed that I'm walking a lot more.
And a stress ball.
Yes, stress, absolutely. I think I have 8 stress balls. I have 8 of them. So, but it's important to figure out a way to relax and have fun. And that's one thing I forgot about. I was working so much, I forgot to have fun, and everything kept building up, and it made you feel like you wanted to quit everything. You really just need to enjoy the ride.
Definitely. Same way with work. Same. I do my podcast at the side hobby, not really a business, but a side hustle, like something I want to talk about, enjoy, whatever. But again, I could do whatever I want because it's based on my schedule. While my full-time job, I can't do whatever I want, but I have to do it. I could pay for it.
Right. And a lot of influencers and YouTube people talk about that hustle culture and making money and how you have to push yourself and how you have to forget about all these things. But that's not right. It's a lie. If you have a passion, enjoy the ride. Don't just hustle all the time. Listen to your body. If you're feeling stressed, you have to cool it down. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different way to live out their passion and release their stress. But if you're fortunate, you're able to have people behind you I mean, some people maybe they don't have kids, maybe they have stress from other things, and you have to kind of look. And sometimes you think you want to be just like those people, but you have to realize that you're
Definitely.
human too. You have to listen to what a lot of people are telling you.
Any goal for the future of how do you want to grow the business interested in going to an event in a different state? Would that allow you? Or of course want to build a team and be able to expand the team, not just one Jonathan, not 1 million Jonathan into the world to help you, but
Yes. So, of course, everybody has a dream. And sometimes you feel like it's hard to achieve your dreams. You're trying to figure out how to get there. But it was my job to take those baby steps to get my support system ready for me to help my dream grow. And it didn't grow fast. It was slow growth, but I felt like I was on the right path. And I could keep doing these Jeep events, and I still had energy for more things. I had a full time job, and I was still able to do this. I had a lot of people that were there to help me. And I had a lot of wonderful people providing me advice that I did not always take because I was just taking my sweet time. I realized later that I probably should have got on this earlier.
late.
So if you make the commitment, you can keep doing it. Like
Sure.
the
Great.
t-shirt business was a
Last
great decision.
question. Any advice for you to give to any individual that want to share about the that own business, dream, goal?
It's funny when I was thinking about when I was going to start my business. I kept putting it off to the next day and the next day and the next day. And then when I got laid off from my job and my wife was pregnant, I thought, if I could go back and not have put all of this off, where would I have been now? So you should definitely think about how every small thing that happens will lead you in a direction. So suppose you have 3 or 4 things you want to do. Make it happen because doing some small things is better than doing no thing at all. I'm so blessed with the journey that I've had and where I am now, but I would say just do it. Just take the risk and do it. You don't have to involve a lot of money. You just have to figure out what the next steps are. If you have to take a loan, that's fine, but use the money wisely. Figure it out and do it.
Thank you. Now, wrapping up, I wanted to give you an opportunity to ask me anything you want to know, curious about.
Yes, I'm curious about your podcast. What made you decide to just do it and go for a podcast? I was always curious about that.
Well, it started off back. Mm, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I went to a Hallmark event.
Of course.
Okay, you can see all my Hallmark people I've interviewed. Okay, but they're not interview my number one. I'm still shading that person. Anyway, I went to the event and I met all my friends I met through social media who going to the event, who love Hallmark, who love whatever actor, people, author, podcaster. So I was like, wow, meet many people. I think I don't know if I want to do a podcast. I mean, what am I going to, I mean, I'm not doing a podcast to be famous or have Hallmark star brand. Yeah, I'm not. I'm just, I don't know, my full time. Yeah, go ahead. I'm a full time parent, full time teacher. The do it on your time. If it had to be one interview a month, fine,
Yeah,
do
that's it.
that. I don't know. Okay, so I put it back there. Mm, went to another event 6 months later. That when I really thought, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I started planning, sending out people request or whatever, one actor. Oh, that thank you so much. He was my first podcast. Name was Ben Aries. He's a Hallmark actor.
Not sure who that is, but okay.
Also opened up a non-profit organization called Romance University. And all of the money, profit, or whatever goes to donation to women's shelter, homeless shelter, whatever. We helped Hawaii last year and one other organization I can't remember. So he was my first podcast, and we talked about Hallmark, talked about Womack University, talked about his goals, and then from there on it's been. So I think I've interviewed 15, 15,
Wow.
17, all related within Hallmark, and I interviewed that author who wrote The Butterfly Cage. Recommend to read her. I recommend you to read her.
That's cool.
I'm working on interviewing authors, cartoon designers, directors. I just had my first interview with the first director last week. So I wanted to branch it out, not just all about my hobby, my favorite, my passion, Hallmark, but also open up everything. I just did special need mom 3 students how we worked with Taylor, how to take care of him after that class. Talked about how we support him through school at UP, make sure he gets what he needs because traumatic brain injury, not a lot of people get that. You don't see it. I could have TBI, but I don't, but you don't see it. So branch it off. So right now I'm working on a big project, that culture. So I'm trying to get multiple interviews, multiple interact so people can see, oh, not that people can do anything a heavy person can, but can't hear people understand that way. Thank you. So that's my whole thing for my podcast.
I love the raw interaction. It's not about the glam, it's about seeing what's going on behind the scenes. A lot of people want to see who that person is. I love that. I love when you do that. Keep that up. It's beautiful work.
And you guys should check out my channel, see how I interview or interact with everyone. Not all the same, but different. So I have another one next week.
So you said you're immersed in the world of Hallmark.
Okay.
I'm
Very
immersed
much.
in Jeep.
Okay.
That's mine.
Keep Hallmark and Jim. Maybe I should want a Hallmark teacher, but yeah. Just like, come on, say hi. Yeah, you come on. At the end, you can say hi. My son, Taylor.
Hello. Oh, hi. How are
How are
you?
you?
It's good to see you. You're good. I see your mom
They're
still
wearing
has
the
that
Taylor
t-shirt and
Swift
it's looking
shirt he
good.
made.
How do I sign the thank you for supporting
Thank
me?
you for supporting me.
You are very welcome. And thank you for supporting me as well.
You're the best.
You're the best.
What?
You best.
You are awesome and
You
the
can
best
know
also.
you're awesome the best too. Okay, good.
All right. You love your mom? That's great.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So after we are done here, I have to go back and focus on getting a lot of shirts ready for the Jeep Beach event that's happening the last week of April. I hope everybody watches this and checks out my Facebook and my Instagram. I have a lot of different stories about my journey, all the fun things I have, and also like the setup and takedown for the events is there, and selling. The stories are there for that. I hope everybody loves
Any
it.
more questions? Or you're good?
No, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. This was
Yeah,
awesome, Kat.
thank
Keep
you.
up the great
Okay,
work.
thank you, Jonathan, for coming here on the Cat Chat podcast. Make sure to follow my account, my podcast account. Follow Ferrer on Instagram. His stories are great about setting up, getting ready, studying, interacting, the fun part and taking apart. So make sure to check out his stories. Thank you so much. Have a great night at the Cat Chat
Bye.
podcast.